Welcome to the third edition of the Newport News Police Department 21st Century Policing Conversation. I'm Captain Bradley.
And I'm Lieutenant Funaiock.
And the topic we are speaking today is about recruiting. We will spend a few minutes talking about the program and invite you to join a question and answer session with us on Thursday, October 15th at noon on the Newport News Police Department's Facebook page.
We'll tell you a little bit about our hiring process. One of our first steps is our physical agility test, which we have every Wednesday. Every applicant will be expected to do a 5-foot wall scale in 15 seconds. They will have to do a 130-pound dummy drag for 30 feet. They will have to do a 50-round trigger pull. They will then have to do a 6-foot broad jump. And the final station is a 300-meter run in 1 minute and 30 seconds. If an applicant for some reason feels that they are not able to complete these stations, we do have a preparatory Saturday that we schedule every month, and an applicant can come out to that preparatory Saturday and they can practice the physical agility test.
Also every Wednesday we do our written test. This is conducted at a different hour, of course, and it is a two-part test. The first part is a skills ability test. It goes about being able to read maps, orientations around maps, memorization, and some slight math skills. The second part of the test is what we call the character profile summary. This is a test of 100 questions that asks questions like, have you ever been suspended? Have you ever had accidents? Different things like that. It's very easy. This takes about 2.5 to 3 hours depending on your speed. Then on Thursday, you come for the second day of testing. Here, we have two components as well. First is the structural oral process. This is an assessment of who you are and what you are about. It is not questions about police officers, but it is questions about events and what you would do in a situation. We are not looking for people that are warriors. We are looking for guardians, people that are helpful to other people. Once you finish the structural oral process, then you will go down and speak with one of our civilian volunteers that will walk you through the character profile summary. If a question like the driving under suspension, you mark that you were suspended 3 or 4 times in the last couple of years, you get to explain why that happened. That does not put you out of the process. It just gives us a better idea of who you are and why things have happened in your life. Once the written test is scored, the structural oral process scored, which is scored by civilian trained assessors, those two scores are combined into a final score. Once that list comes out, you may move on to the background.
Once you make it into the background investigation phase, each applicant will be assigned a background investigator. You will come in and you will meet with your background investigator and you will go over your entire background investigation form. During the background investigation, the investigators will go over your criminal history, your employment history, and you will be asked to provide 5 character references, and the background investigator will speak to all of those character references. We will also perform a credit history check. Typically in the background investigation phase, we do a home visit, and we also ask that the applicant does a ride-along with one of our officers. However, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the ride-along and the home visit are currently suspended.
Once your background package is completed, then I take that to a panel. Our panel consists of our captains and our assistant chiefs, and we set and go through your background file. At that point, I have to have at least 3 people to move you forward or 3 people to decline you. Most people do get to move forward onto our process. Once the panel has made a decision to move you forward into our process, you will then be contacted by our polygraph examiner and schedule you for your polygraph. Once you pass your polygraph, then you get to go and be interviewed by Chief Drew himself. This is a very simple process. He has several questions he will ask, nothing earth-shattering, nothing to be stressed about. After the chief's interview and he selects you, you will then be contacted by our Human Resources Department. At that point, you will be scheduled for a physical test and a psychological test before being hired.
Overall, we are very selective with who we choose to be a police officer recruit on this department. Typically, each year we get over 1,000 applications each year for a police officer position. We typically only select 6% of them to be in our academies. We are currently looking for applicants that better reflect our community as a whole. National average for women police officers is only 12%. However, on the Newport News Police Department, 18% of our police officers are women. In general, women tend to be better at conflict resolution, and they tend to be better listeners and communicators. A recent CNN article cited a study that showed that women are less likely to use force and are actually less likely to be complained on for excessive use of force. Chief Drew would like all of our academies to have 10% of our applicants Spanish speaking. Each academy, we typically have about 10% of our applicants who identify as Hispanic, and we have met our goal that approximately 10% of our police officer recruit hires do identify as Hispanic. We are also trying to have more of an African American population on our department, as currently we only have 16% of our department identify as African American. However, over the last year, 39% of our applicants are African American, and our police officer recruit new hires over this last year, 35% of them identify as African American. Overall, we are looking for good people, not perfect people. We are looking to diversify our department so it better reflects our community.
Thank you for joining us. Again, if you have any questions on recruitment, please join us next Thursday, October 15th at noon, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have about our recruitment program.
This job is everything that person makes it.
This is a career. This is a life-changing career.
When you put the uniform on, you feel that sense of pride.
I had a passion for it, I had a love for it. It was probably one of the best choices I made.
If you're looking for a job where you can advance due to your leadership skills, this is where you need to go.
This department's not going to hold you back. It's all about you knowing what you want to do when you come into the departments. There are people within this department who are willing to lay the foundation for your career and want to see you succeed.
We've got the patrol division, we've got canines, we've got bicycle units, we've got motors, we've got boat units, and then the wide variety of detectives positions that are here. We have some of the best trainers in law enforcement here on our agency. We have our own training academy, which allows us to train our people specifically for the job that they're going to be doing in Newport News. They get all the same training that you'd get at a regional academy, plus the extra things that we want you to have to make you successful as a police officer here.
In my prior life, I was a stay-at-home mom. I decided to join the police department to follow my lifelong dream of doing something exciting and thrill-seeking and fun.
This job is not for the mundane. Every day there's something different.
I love nights where it's just call to call to call. You're running from beginning to end. Makes the night go by fast, it's fun.
To me, the ultimate police officer is extremely flexible and very adaptable to different circumstances. You might go to a very emotionally charged call one moment and then go to another one that causes you to shift gears very rapidly.
The main thing you have to have is heart, just heart to do what you need to do when you have to do it.
I think if you have that natural skill set to work hard and push through, where a lot of people say, man, I don't want to deal with this, I think that is what will set you up for success.
We take pride in responding to our calls the proper way, assisting citizens no matter what it may be.
One of the first things you learn in police work is that you can't police a community that doesn't allow you to. There's nothing we can do on a daily basis unless our community trusts us to do it.
I think Newport News is actually like the pioneer for community policing. Officers are actually taking their own initiative and going out there. We have Cola with the Cop, Coffee with the Cop.
We have citizens police academies, and we have other functions where we like to get out there and initiate positive contact.
This is something that we do a lot of. The canine demonstrations out in the community. Throughout the school year, the schools call us all the time. A lot of times people don't see officers as being human, so this kind of humanizes us. Also, people love to see the dogs.
Just having that overall relationship with them that makes them comfortable enough to come to us is very important.
They partner with pretty much anyone in the city that has something that they feel like will bring the police and the community together and break down those walls.
I had a case once where the mother of the victim came up and gave me a hug and thanked me for all my work, and it was just really touching for her to make it a point after all that she had been through to single me out and thank me for what I did.
There is nothing like a mother hugging you and you're able to help find answers for her.
Just last week, I heard somebody yell, "Hey, Officer Fig." When I turned around, I said, "Hey, you probably don't remember me, but you helped me out in the time where I was really down."
That is a proud moment when someone recognizes you for helping them years later.
I love Newport News. I love my community. I love that I work where I live. This area, there's so much to do when you're not working, which is important because you're not always working.
There's City Center with all the music and all the concerts they have in the summer and the movies. I mean, there's so much you can do. It really is a joy to work for the city.
We have a few benefits in the city. After 2 years, you get off probation. If you live in the city, they do issue you a take-home vehicle. Having a gym membership, the police department does pay for your gym membership that they take out of your check every month.
Standby pay, overtime, health insurance. However, those pale in comparison to the emotional and mental benefits that we get from this job.
And they say it's a blue family. It definitely is a blue family, and I'm very proud to be a part of it.
It's really easy to remember how good somebody else was to you, and it's real easy to pick up when you can trust that person.
The job is not for everybody, but I think you know if you have that within you.
Is it a tough job? Absolutely. Is it demanding? Yes, it is. I wouldn't change it for a minute.
Newport News Police Department.
Committed to excellence.
To honesty.
To safety. Commitment to integrity.
Commitment to justice.
Newport News Police Department.
Committed to our community.